Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time and spending it with us. I'm Eoin Devereux, news sports reporter with the Banner Press, joined this week by Kira Paterson. Kira, good to have you here this week.
Good to be here, I guess, since I have to be.
Mandatory fun will be had, Kira.
Dang.
Well, don't worry. You're going to get ice cream afterwards.
Yes.
As we record this, actually, Miracle Treat Day at Dairy Queen is on the go, and we will be receiving our ice cream treats from there very shortly.
Yay.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll be brought in during the event. Who knows?
And you'll get to watch us eat Dairy Queen and be very jealous.
Well, let's get to the news first and some of the items of note that are happening in and around Neepawa this week. And holy cow, there's a fair bit that's happening in and around Neepawa, and especially this one. This was a story that was big for a short period of time when it was first announced a couple years ago about cyber fraud that had struck the municipality of Westlake Gladstone. They had had some issues with some money being taken out. It was almost like a movie plot, some sort of international hackers going around doing all this stuff. And it always seems glamorous and fun when it's somebody else. But when it hits close to home, you probably don't appreciate it that much. And Kira, you've got the details on what's happening with that and how it's going forward. And this is turning from an international spy thriller to a court drama, isn't it?
Yes. It's going to be like...
You can't handle the truth.
Exactly. It's going to be like one of those, what's the author's name that's always writing about the...
John Grisham.
John Grisham. It's going to be like a John Grisham book.
Ooh.
No, I mean, it might not be that exciting. I don't know. But so Westlake Gladstone, the municipality, sent out a press release updating the public about the whole process that they're going through, because it is a long and drawn out process of trying to get everything sorted out and hopefully get the money back that they lost.
Which was $400,000
Yeah,
worth.
I think it was almost $450,000, which is insane. And it came out in several subsequent transactions of just under $10,000 each over a few weeks during the Christmas holidays at the end of 2019 going into 2020. And that was kind of why it didn't get seen at first, was because it was at Christmas break, people were on holidays, people maybe weren't keeping an eye on the accounts, and very clever on this perpetrator's part, I guess. But they found out about it as soon as they got back from Christmas holidays, and they were like, what the heck? So they tried to do some investigating into it. They talked to Stride Credit Union, which is where they do their banking, and they talked to their insurance providers to hopefully maybe get that money back via insurance. They were told that it's not covered, that cyber fraud is not covered by insurance, even though they were originally told that it was. So they talked to some legal counsel, and now they are in the process of litigation against Stride Credit Union and their insurance companies to try and get this money back, because they haven't obviously been able to recover the money itself. They had traced it to somewhere in Ontario, and I think that ended up getting transferred out of the country, so they don't know where it went after that. So they're trying to get their money back in some way, and this seems to be one of the only ways they can do it. So yeah, it's a bit of a dramatic turn of events, and obviously it's a long drawn out process from 2 years ago to now, and yeah, I kind of have a little bit of the background in here of the story and what they are talking about going forward. Another weirdly interesting specific point that they made was they specifically stated that the CAO was not involved in any way, and they have no reason to believe that the CAO was dirty or had helped anybody, was an accomplice or anything like that. They have no reason to believe that there was any involvement by the CAO, and the CAO went through all the proper protocols and did what they were supposed to as soon as they had found out about this. So I don't know if there had been rumors going around Gladstone.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, heck yeah. You know how small towns are from time to time, and people get to talking down at the coffee shop about this or that. Neepawa is like that, Minnedosa is like that, and very obviously Gladstone is like that as well, because there were suggestions But again, when it comes to something like malfeasance like this, you can't just sort of throw things out willy-nilly. These are people's lives. These are people's careers. Let the due diligence take place. And according to the municipality, they're saying there is nothing here. Now, I would imagine, that should be it.
Yep.
Maybe it's not. And again, maybe there is more to it. But let's not start sort of assuming anything.
No, exactly. And yeah, like I talked to the mayor, I said, so have people been talking about this? Have there been accusations? He said, well, I can't confirm or deny anything. I can't say any more than what's in the press release. So I never got any straight answer about if there was any serious allegations. But I mean, you know that small towns are rumor mills, so they probably wanted to put those rumor mills kind of to rest. Because you don't want people getting the wrong idea about people when they haven't done anything wrong, right? So it's, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that as well in the story, because that was kind of, it was like half talking about the litigation, and then the second half was all about like the CAO is free and clear.
And the thing is about this as well is that we can't delve as much as we'd like to into the details, because now this is a legal action that's happening. And because it's a legal action, both sides can't speak publicly on it. This has got to be sort of argued, not in the court of media, but in the court of law. And that's where this is going to go. And something tells me this is going to be a knockdown, drag out, because $450, that's a heck of a lot of money. I mean, it's, and I'm not going to take sides on this. We're not allowed to take sides on this. As a representative of the media, you have to be as impartial as possible. And hopefully there is a positive resolution to this. Perfect world, whomever did this would be caught.
Yes.
And the money would be returned. But let's face facts. The last 3 years, we've all figured out this is not a perfect world. So we'll see how it plays. Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, and we'll be definitely keeping an eye out for updates from all sides of this. You had mentioned when you were proofreading the story, you said, oh, well, you should have talked to Stride Credit Union. And at the time when I was writing this story, I thought I should maybe contact the CEO. But then I thought, I know that they won't have any comments. They won't be able to make any comments simply because it is a legal proceeding. So that was kind of the reason that I had opted not to call. And also because usually when I try to call the CEOs of companies, then they never call back for like 3 days. So, so I had thought, oh, well, I won't waste my time on a no comment. But I should have, and I apologize that I didn't get all sides of it. But we do know that it would be a no comment.
Well, again, and it's one of those things as well, because I know the person actually personally, because when I was in Portage, I interacted with this person on a regular basis. I'm not going to throw names out there. You can look that up, and I don't want to sort of send any wrong things there. But anytime I needed to speak to him on anything, because he was also a representative in the community as a council member as well. At the time I was there, always forthright, always a straight shooter in terms of information I needed, even when it wasn't information that particularly positive. Because the city of Portage La Prairie from time to time is just like, yeah, we got to spend this money because we screwed up on something.
It happens.
Every town's like that. Every city's like that. Oh, something exploded. We didn't expect that, so now we got to spend your money on this.
Sorry.
But he was always forthright in terms of that information. The same thing, any dealings I had with him at Stride Credit Union. We don't want to take sides here. We're trying to we know people at Stride Credit Union. It's a part of our community. And we know people in Westlake Gladstone. Like, we're just trying to tell the story as best we can, share the information with you as best we can, and let you take that information and do with it as you may. So, hopefully we do get a better resolution for you in the near future. But it's going to be a knockdown, drag out, I think, because nobody likes to give up money if they don't have to. No. But speaking of money.
Speaking of giving up money.
This is actually a little bit more positive. Very glad to be able to share this information with you. This story you can find on page 2 of the Banner and Press. A nice little announcement came down from the federal government and the provincial government. A joint press release was sent out in which they're giving away almost $34 million to 10 different communities in Manitoba to help with some wastewater and sewer issues that they're dealing with. And I shouldn't even say issues. That's not the right word. Let me backtrack. Not issues, upgrades, improvements, renovations, those types of things. The biggest check is going to the city of Dauphin. They're getting about $9 million for a massive improvement to that community's wastewater system. Neepawa did pretty good for itself too, though, quite honestly. If you check it out on page 2, you can see an investment of $4.2 million going into phase 2 of our ever-long, ever-ongoing wastewater and sewer upgrades. It's desperately needed. The community of Neepawa has grown to such a degree over the last 10 years that we needed to do this. This was the number one priority, as it should be. And they've done a tremendous job with phase 1. Phase 1 through, got it looked after, got it taken care of. And phase 2 now is going to be helped out with this 4.2. About just under 2.3 million coming from the feds. Thank you very much, Ottawa. That's appreciated. And then the rest of the money, 1.9, coming from the province. Nice, good job, Winnipeg. And of course, municipal taxpayers, municipal ratepayers will be paying their portion as well. We've gone over that in other stories over the last few months, including our budget story. So you can go back and check out that paper, because I know you keep every single solitary copy of the Banner and Press neatly right next to next to your TV. You're pulling out the April 16th edition of that paper right now, aren't you?
Yep, all these diehard fans sitting here watching us, they know, and they'll hold us to our word, and they'll keep track of things.
That's right. And plus that as well, I forget the exact number. That more than anything, the exact number that is going in from the municipality, I've forgotten. So I'll have to go back into my archive and check out for myself. But this is huge. This is a big deal because it's going towards something called the implementation of a moving bed biofilm reactor. Now that sounds like a thing.
Sounds like a lot of words.
And I had to do some research into it because I had no idea what the heck something like that actually is and why it's important. Essentially what it is this type of technology that makes wastewater and bio-waste and all that, it eliminates it a little more efficiently. It takes up a little less space than the traditional way of wastewater removal. It does it in a more eco sense. There's less sludge, there's less of that issue that a community has to deal with. And it's just a more precise measure of looking after this very just grimy, nobody wants to talk about wastewater. I know you don't want to hear this right now, but we'll muddle through, we'll get through the muck and the mire and the sludge, and we'll get to the cool stories soon enough. But these are the things you do have to know sometimes. And what it comes down to is we're going to get some money from the feds, we're going to get some money from the province. It's going to go a long way to helping make Neepawa a little bit better. And that's always a good thing. It's wonderful to see the ever improvement of this community moving forward with the help of all 3 tiers of government.
Yep.
Anything else you want to throw in on this, Kira?
I mean, I don't necessarily like hearing about it, but I mean, the last thing you want is your toilet exploding. So this is an important thing to keep it from getting backed up into your bathrooms, I guess.
Yep. Less sludge, more fun.
Yes.
That's the worst catchphrase ever.
You better trademark it.
All right. On that same page, though, a little more light, a little more fun story that Casper Warehan was able to do over the weekend. They were on location for finally the official grand opening of Kinsman Courts 2. They had a public event where people were able to come in, sort of see the facility, see what they've been doing with that, have some fun and celebrate there. A couple pictures from that, and it's good to see. We had a tour a while ago of the facility. It's very nice. Very good for senior housing in Neepawa, and hopefully you were able to take advantage of the opportunity and take a walk down and see it for yourself.
Yeah, it looked like it was a nice event. I have to be honest though, I thought that they had a grand opening like a year ago. Because I know that they started to have people moving in last October or November already. There are people living in the building, and there are a few suites still available. But yeah, it's kind of been up and running for almost a year now, and so I just was surprised that they were having a grand opening because I thought that they did already. But it's good. They probably wanted to wait till everything was kind of cleared up, everything was up and running, and more festivities were allowed due to COVID. So like last year, there probably would have been a huge kind of cap on the amount of people they could have in there, what types of things they could do. Like here, they are offering food and they are offering tours, and lots of people could come. So it's good that they were able to kind of wait it out and have a nice big celebration for the opening of this. It's an important part of the community as well. Housing is very much needed, and senior housing as well, because we do have we have a lot of newcomers coming in, but we also have that aging population.
Why did you gesture towards me? I thought you were going to go, we have a lot of old people.
Yeah, seniors. We need housing for these people.
I cut my own steak. I apologize for that. That was a clear ageist joke on my behalf. Please do not cancel me. It wasn't more that it was offensive, just it wasn't very funny.
No, it was just bad.
No.
It just fell flat.
But again, something that was good though was the celebration at Kinsman Courts. I mean, we've talked about it so long in terms of the need in the community. We saw the blueprints of it. They're still doing some of the exterior work in terms of some of the lawn care and all that and the parking, but very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out. One of these days when that road is done, they'll be able to get their stuff done as well, and it'll look very pretty, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody seemed to be out and about the last little while. Not only did we have this event at Kinsman Courts 2 over the weekend, we also had an event over at MP Dan Mazur's office, and the Neepawa Legion corresponded with it. He had a barbecue, sort of a meet and greet with the constituents of Dauphin Swan River Neepawa riding, in which he represents in Ottawa. So he had a chance to speak with them, and he also set up what he was calling a passport clinic. Everyone's starting to feel a little energized about being able to go out and about, and not just talking about Brandon or Winnipeg. I'm talking about actually around the world. But they need their passport, of course, and some of them let the passport expire, let them go, because where could you go over the last couple years? Not really anywhere, but now you can, and you should take advantage of that. And about 130 people did take advantage of that, going down to the passport clinic, getting their pictures done, getting their information in so they can be processed and that they can get their new passports and be able to go out and about again. If you wanted to do it without something like this, you got to get the information filled out, you got to get all that, you got to get the picture done, then you got to either travel to Winnipeg, where the services center is located, because that's what I did.
Oh, okay.
I've got a 10-year. I had a 10-year done about 6 years ago, I believe. 5 years ago? 6 years? 5.5 years ago. Let's split the difference.
Sure.
5.5 years ago. So I'm still good for a couple more years. Plus, I don't go anywhere. So what do I even need it for, it seems. But I had to go to Winnipeg to get all of that processed. And that is such a pain. Who wants to go to Winnipeg, quite honestly, if you don't have to? Or Dauphin. Dauphin has another service center up there. It's a little more convenient, but, just barely.
Is there one in Brandon?
That's the strange thing. There is no longer one in Brandon. I know there used to be one in Brandon back in the 90s, back in my day. But no, I don't believe there is one there anymore. It's Dauphin or Winnipeg. And that's really inconvenient.
Yep.
I would imagine you've had your passport updated recently, or in the process, haven't you?
No, I had it done probably about 7 years ago, and I got a 10-year one as well.
Okay.
So I do have a few years left on mine. But I only remember really going to Brandon to get the picture taken at the Walmart Photo Center, and I thought that they had the ability to send off all the forms from there, but I don't really know. I was like 17 or 18. So my mom did everything for me still at that point. So I don't know what the whole process was, but I don't remember going to Winnipeg for it. Which if we had to go somewhere, it wouldn't have been Dauphin, it would have been Winnipeg. Just I don't know why. But.
Well, I remember because I went to Winnipeg to get mine done, and it's just a couple blocks north of Portage and Main intersection there. And it's just, unfortunately, I timed it perfectly for midday traffic.
Of course.
And even at the best of times, trying to find parking in downtown Winnipeg is a hassle. Ugh. So I ended up having to park a mile away, put in all the change.
So then by the time you got there and they took your picture, you were sweating.
Well, no, and then I had to sit around and wait because there's always lines up to people. And it's like the last 15, 20 minutes, I was starting to worry. It's like, oh my God, am I going to have to leave to go fill it up with more change so I don't get a ticket? But again, we were able to do this from the comfort of our own community, and that was all thanks to Dan Mazer. Mazer was very appreciative of the people that came out, not only for the Passport Clinic, but also for the barbecue, because it was his chance to talk to you about the things that concern you. And boy, inflation seems to be that one thing that's nipping at everybody's heels right now. And he said he heard a lot about that, and they're trying to do something about it. So that'd be nice. Yeah. A couple extra bucks in your pocket. Oh, yeah. Be able to go on a trip.
Exactly. Use that passport.
Yep. All right. Just really quickly, let's go on to this. In our center spread, we have Harvest Sun Festival is coming up in the very near future. This weekend, I believe, or
the 20th and 21st, so next weekend.
Next weekend, yep. So that's going to be going on in Kelwood, and we got all the festivities and some of the details of some of the people that are going to be involved with that. Very appreciative to be able to share that information with you. It's in the center of the paper. Right next to it, of course, as well, is an event that just passed. Gladstone had their fair. It was back in full force. Chamber of Commerce, the Rec Department, and the Ag Society came together to put the fair on from the 5th to the 7th. From the bits and pieces we saw, from the pictures that were taken by Margaret Drinkwater, the wife of John Drinkwater. Margaret, thank you very much for doing that. Very appreciative of that, to be able to share those images with you and with everyone. So it did look like it was a bit of fun to parade and all that.
He had Margaret and John had taken a few pictures, but John was driving in the parade, so he wasn't able to take pictures during the parade. He just took a few beforehand, and then Margaret took some while they were driving by. So it was from the pictures that they had taken, it looked like they had a good turnout at the parade. It sounded like they had a really good turnout at the fair in general. There is a thumbs up, I believe, in this week's paper about that and about how well it went and how smoothly it went. So yeah, it sounded like it was going to be a lot of fun when I had talked to the organizers beforehand, and I kind of wish that I had gone because I kind of forgot about it that weekend. Whoops.
Well, don't worry, Kelwood's coming up.
Yeah, true.
And as well, some events in Minnedosa. That's going to appear in next week's edition of the Banner and Press. Some big festivities happening in Minnedosa again. So I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
All right, the other festivities that went on, a little closer to home, the Neepawa Titans had their second annual Golf Classic over at the Neepawa Golf and Country Club. Oh man, that'd be cool if we had Golf and Curling Club. That'd be kind of cool.
Golf. We need to make a new sport now.
Man, all right, I'll get on it. But they had a lot of alumni, former players for the Neepawa Natives / Junior A Hockey Club / Titans over the years come back to Neepawa to take part in it. And there was part of that as well was an unveiling, a launching of a new book by author Rick Sparling. You are most likely very familiar with Rick's work. We've had the privilege of being able to talk about it on this show many a time. He has talked about the history and the heritage of Neepawa's high school hockey programs, its minor hockey programs, and its local businesses, and done a tremendous job. This time he is focused on the Neepawa Natives Junior A hockey team, their 30 years of history, and he did a real deep dive into his new book that you can get. You contact the hockey team. If you read the article, you can find that contact information in the article. And I believe as well, he has done a sit-down interview right here on NAC TV. Remember to keep a close look at the schedule to see when it'll be appearing on your television, It's really, as much as I can sort of share with you, go right to the source. Check out what Rick had to say about the entire process, because it was just fascinating. I was only get a few minutes of his time just before his interview with NACTV. NACTV was able to do a 30-plus minute deep dive into what took place to get this done. Because he did, Kira, he talked to pretty much every single former player. He wasn't able to get all of them, but it was such a deep, and we should know as well, because we worked on the formatting of the book.
Yep.
So we can pat ourselves on the back a little bit in terms of the way the book looks.
Yeah, and I read through, I did a little bit of proofreading and that kind of thing as well, so I actually did read the whole book, and it was very interesting, some of the stories that some of those players had to tell. I believe there was over 600 different people involved, players, coaching staff, billet coordinators, billet people, all types of different people involved with the team that Rick talked to get different perspectives. It was actually really interesting to see how different people saw the team.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things of, this is whether you were part of the team in the 90s or you're part of the team the last couple years, all the trials, all the tribulations, because there have been ups. I mean, there was that period in the mid-90s where they were really top tier in the MJHL. They were so close, one game away from winning the MJHL championship. And those years where they were just consistent contenders. And then there's the downs, obviously. Rick doesn't shy away from talking about some of the controversial parts of Neepawa's history, some of the things that maybe some people don't want to talk about. Well, 2011, for example, let's just say what it is. You know, the incident of 2011, the hazing incident, and of course the name as well. There have been discussions over many years about the appropriateness of the team's name. He doesn't shy away from that. He talks about the good and the bad. The fortunate thing is, there's more good in the grand scheme than there is bad. But judge for yourself if you want to. You can find a copy of the book, contact the Neepawa Titans. That information, again, as I said, is in the article regarding Rick's book. And I'm sure you can find it on the Neepawa Titans website or on their social media. Or if they haven't done it already, maybe they'll watch this show and realize, ooh, we should do that. We should get right on that, guys. But no, it's a tremendous read. It looks great. It looks amazing, I think.
Yeah.
You know, again, the amount of
back.
time and hours we spent going into the archives, getting old pictures from the 90s, from the 2000s, and it was a fair bit of time. So, you know, but seeing it on the page, it's almost worth it. It really is. You know, it truly is. So, Rick, thank you very much for doing that. It's a great history of the team, and I think it's something that's going to live on for generations, and hopefully it'll continue to live on as the team hopefully continues to live on. All right, we're running near the end of our day here on the Story Behind the Stories. So let's just talk about one thing real quick. An article about the 65th celebration of the Gladstone Golf and Country Club. This past weekend, they had a couple events going on there to celebrate their wonderful 9-hole golf course. If I remember correctly, now I got to do math in my head. I believe it's 1957? Let's say 57.
Sure.
Let's say 57 when it actually opened into the community. And they were very happy to be able to celebrate their 65th recently. They had a couple tournaments. They're very proud. I had an opportunity to speak to the steward of the golf course, and he was able to share some of the background and history of the course. I'm very pleased to be able to share that, because as I always say, even though we are the Neepawa Banner Press, we like to be the region's paper as best we can, covering stories from Gladstone, Minnedosa, St. Rose if we can, Kelwood, Carberry, and of course right here at home. But to do that, we do need some help from time to time, and that's where you come in. If you have any story ideas or suggestions, we would love to hear from you. You can contact us here at the Neepawa Banner Press at 476-3401. That is the number we can be reached at, usually 476-3401. or you can reach us via email at news@neepawabanner.com. If you have sports-related stuff, sports is really starting to kick into high gear as we head into the fall, you can contact me at sports@neepawabanner.com or send pictures or anything like that. We always appreciate that help. We try and hit as many different things as we can. Sometimes we hit, sometimes we miss, but we're trying to do our best each and every week, and we do appreciate you supporting us in any way, shape, or form. So other than that, I think thank you very much, Kira, for sitting in and spouting off about some of the stuff that you've been doing the last week or so.
I mean, thanks for doing most of the work. You did all the talking, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and thank you for tuning in, as always, and listening to us babble on about the stories behind the stories. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again with you in the near future. Have yourself a good week.